you have an answer by now, but we'll see.
You never know, man. Sometimes people surprise me.
Try to hit Peter here it goes. Okay. Especially since I asked her really that way.
She's recording.
Oh, okay. All right. Then let's start going.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I know you've talked about the fact that you will be going to Haiti soon.
Yes.
And I know that you've done a lot of good work all over the world anyway in your life.
That's right.
Okay. But and I know when we do this stuff, we don't do it for ourselves. We're doing it in front of people.
Right.
But you can't help but learn stuff out of doing this.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, from the kind of work that you've done, what have you learned as a human being about other humans, about our hearts?
I would say the thing that I've learned the most about going out there and doing stuff and trying to help people in other countries or even here in the States, you know, I think that the biggest thing that I've learned is that I'm so blessed. I'm really lucky. You know, I have a great family that has always supported me, and I've been able to do everything that I've ever wanted to do. And you know, there's people all over the world that don't get water, good water, or have a hard time coming up with food, or a place to stay, and so that that I feel lucky, but I've also learned that like those people, it's funny because those people that I've met in those other countries have always been like the happiest people too, though, the people that don't have much, and they're willing to give up everything that they have too. I mean, we'll walk into a place and they'll make these exquisite dinners for us, and they don't have anything, but they'll make the best dinners for us just coming out there, and so it's just, I think I've learned to kind of give a little bit more and just be happy with the person that I am and the stuff that has been given to me, So, but it's in me to go out there and help people, and I'm glad I'm getting a chance to do something like that.
Yeah, it should be quite an experience going there when you get there.
Yeah.
So talking about life lessons learned, I often say that being an idol is all about learning stuff.
Yeah.
About the record industry, about yourself.
Yeah.
But I think what I've never really asked people before, so I'm going to ask you, is what did you learn from the other contestants? And you could pick one or two or whatever. Yeah. I don't know, Adam, Scott, Allison, anybody.
Right.
Anybody in the finalists. But what was something, whatever it was, whether it was about life or music or...
Yeah. I'm trying to think. That's a good question. I would say that the thing that I've learned the most from maybe the other contestants, and I think this has just been like all of them as a whole, is that everyone had their thing, like especially the top 10. I feel like they all, you got Adam, who obviously has his thing. Matt, had his thing, he played the piano and was very like jazzy, and then Anoop had his thing, and so I would say that for me it was like honing in and like really figuring out what my thing was, which I think I knew, but just like honing in and trying to become better at that. And for me it was like becoming a better guitar player, and maybe not so much like a better guitar player, but just trying to come into that, whatever it was. I'm a guy that plays guitar, and I'm a singer-songwriter, so I was trying to come into that a little bit more and make that show. So I think it works for all of us.
I'm sure they learn things from you too.
I hope so.
Yeah. I'll find out. On your album, I'm pretty sure that before you made the album, you've listened to The Fray, and you listened to Train, I'm guessing.
I have, yeah, absolutely.
Drops of Jupiter.
Yeah.
But had you ever actually heard the script before? Because they're not that well known. At least in this country.
Right. They're huge, but I had actually heard the script before. It was one of my friends that listened to him a while back, and told me about him, and I was like, I listened to the CD. He gave me their CD, and I listened to them. I thought they were really cool and different, and found out they were huge overseas. But I'd actually listened to them before, and so I didn't know that they had sent us a song, and I listened to it, and I was like, oh, that song's cool, and and I was like, this sounds kind of familiar. The voice sounds familiar. This guy from the script, and I was like, oh, that's cool, you know. So I thought that was, you know, very cool that I'd actually known who they were. So.
Did you get any, you know, since you recorded the song, and since it's like in the top 30 of the top 100 right now, have you had feedback from them? Have you talked to them since?
I talked to them right after we actually played a show together in Cincinnati. Yeah, and we went out and played a show together, and I got to hang out with them, and they were so excited about the song, and they're just really cool guys, really a lot of fun to hang out with too. So and they're a great band that I think, you know, a lot of people, you know, take for granted. But I think they're coming into their own in the U.S. right now with Break Even. So good for them, really good for them.
And I really think that your song helped get them on the
Maybe so, you know. I mean, I hope that, you know, them writing my first single has definitely helped with what they do. So.
I went to a showcase of theirs in New York, and then on my way home, they ended up on my flight to LA.
Oh, wow.
I know with them a little bit. I really like them a lot.
They're fun,
yeah,
for sure. They're a lot of fun.
And when I heard you were doing this song,
they're tall. Both of them are so tall.
That's awesome.
This the whole time.
So talking about the album still, and the people that you worked with from the Fray and Trey and Steve Kipner, people like that.
Right.
Was there one person you worked with that, like, you know, you either had a special connection, musical connection with, or just learned something from, or were just so honored to be working with them on the album?
I mean, getting to work with any of the, you know, the artists that I've worked with, for sure, were very cool. I mean, working with Joe King from the Fray, I think we text each other pretty regularly now, which is, for me, it's kind of weird to think about. Like, you know, I feel like I'm, you know, decent. We're friends. You know, I feel like, and I think he's coming out here and he was asking me if I was doing any of the Grammy parties or something like that. So, you know, to be able to say that, you know, I feel like I learned a lot from him actually. He told me to keep a journal, and which I've tried to keep up with, you know, because it just helps me like get rid of my thoughts on paper, and also make sure I don't, because he's a married guy and he has kids too, and he was telling me don't spend more than 2 weeks away from your wife, and so I'm trying to keep that, you know, just because I feel like that's a good thing, you know. But I mean, getting to work with like John Foreman, I'm such a huge fan of his. Switchfoot, I'm a huge fan of, and his, you know, his solo stuff too, I think is really great. And even someone who reached out to me, Kris has he's been, you know, awesome to me. So it was nice to write a song with him as well.
Now,